Blog Talk Radio.
Archangels, ghosts, and Bigfoot, oh my. It's just another night for Supernatural Girls. Real stories, real answers to life's biggest supernatural mysteries. And now for another exciting interview with paranormal experts from this world and others. Here are your supernatural hosts, Patricia Baker and Becky Andreasen. Supernatural Girls.
Welcome, everyone, to another exciting episode of Supernatural Girls Radio. I am your host, Patricia Baker, and I am here with my fabulous co-host, Patricia Kirkman, a world-famous numerologist who has been generously giving of her time and energy and joining me on the show every week for months. And Patricia, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, darling. I'm so happy to be here.
Well,
Believe me, it is. What can I say? It's been fantastic getting here tonight.
I bet. I know you've had quite a schedule, and you've moved mountains and just everything in your path to be here tonight. So I appreciate that.
So
I know our audience does too. That's great.
I know it. We're all excited about our beautiful, wonderful guest tonight.
Oh, and he is a beautiful man, I must say. You
yes.
hit it right on the head because the book is beautiful, and we have Manhattan Medium on tonight. His name is Thomas John, and he's written a beautiful book called Never Argue with a Dead Person, True and Unbelievable Stories from the Other Side. I can't wait to talk to him, and I know you're dying to talk to him too. So,
I certainly am.
We're going to bring him on shortly, but we have some other things to talk about first. So we'll get to those things, and then we're going to talk to Thomas John. Now, I want to let all of our listeners know that Thomas is not going to be doing on-air readings tonight, except for one. And Patricia, you and I discussed this.
That's
right. We are going to ask Thomas if he would please reach out and speak to Helene Olson, who we desperately miss, our sister in light, who was one of the founders of Supernatural Girls Radio. Right. And as everybody knows, Helene passed away in March. And, oh, my goodness, do we miss her. So we're hoping that Thomas will be able to connect with her on the other side. And we'll have a little conversation with Helene, which will be wonderful.
Wouldn't it be wonderful?
Yes. We're all looking forward to this and hopefully hearing from her. Now, we are aware that sometimes spirit doesn't come through.
That's true.
When we ask them to, so, we'll ask. That's all we can do and see if Helene's available.
This way, we can be bullheaded before we leave and after we leave.
That's right. So if Helene's available, I know she's going to want to speak with Thomas John also. And as everyone knows, Helene was a very talented medium. She had a great gift at connecting with the angelic realm, and Metatron was one of her very favorites. I heard her channel him before, and it was like a freight train coming through a physical body, just an amazing experience. And we miss Helene, so we'll see what happens tonight. It's going to be quite an adventure, and of course we want to talk to Thomas about his life and all of his adventures as a medium. But first, we need to find out about the numbers. We're going into a 30 tomorrow. What's that about?
Well, that ends up being a very unusual day. It's going to be a 6-day universally, which is all about family, friends, people that we hold dear to us. And it also happens to be the very last day of the month. So we are making a major shift from where we are now to where we're going, because this month has been all about communications, creativity, kindness, lovingness, sharing. As of tomorrow, nose to the grindstone, get that shovel, dig that ditch. Everything's going to change almost like at a snap of a finger. But it will prove interesting. I'll save the rest of it for next week. But for right now, enjoy the beautiful, wonderful adventures that come with the 3 personal month that we're in, and the Universal 6th day is going to give us all types of ideas and thoughts, being creative and wanting to care for and take care of others. Sharing.
Oh, that sounds nice.
Good. Mm-hmm.
Very altruistic energy. And, you know, Patricia, I do have to compliment you also on your numerological talents because way back when we first started together, we talked about different television shows, paranormal television shows, and one of them that we discussed was Supernatural, one of my favorites.
Right.
And you said that Bobby Singer, the character Bobby Singer, even though he had died on the show, he was going to be coming back. And a few weeks ago, there he was. I was like, Patricia's right again.
I'm not
came
right.
Back.
God
I don't know
gives
for how
me
long,
the right
but...
numbers to look at.
Well, you nailed it. So he was unexpectedly back for one episode. I hope they bring him back for a few more. He's an enjoyable character, and we've actually missed him on the show. So, but anyways, you predicted that, and you were right. So there you have it.
That makes me feel good. I feel exonerated.
You are totally exonerated. And the other thing I wanted to mention to everybody, if you haven't signed up for our newsletter, please do that at supernaturalgirls.com. Mm-hmm. And we have a new menu tab called Healthy Supernatural on our website. We're going to be giving you healthy tips, recipes. I did get my bone broth recipe up there for everybody. Hooray, hooray. So if you're interested, take a look.
I think it's fabulous. I'm just so tickled that we're doing all these extra things.
Well, it's fun, and as
better.
you know, I've been a health nut for more years than I care to mention, and why not share some of this really interesting information with everybody? Today, there's a lot of health challenges people are facing. Any advantage you can have, it's to your credit to look into these types of things. But we're going to be posting more and more of those on the website, and we will also reference them in the newsletter. So make sure you're signed up so that you can remember to go back and take a look at the website and print out any recipes that you're interested in. So, yeah, lots of fun stuff.
You're making me more interested in health issues ever have been in a long, long time. I'll put it that way.
Well, I'm glad to hear that. I really am, because I want you to stay around for a long, long time. We don't want to have to go looking for you on the other side either. So
well, no, because I'd really be probably at one of those little nasty ones that zoom down and go.
Right. Thanks. Yeah. Nana. I'm over here, and you're stuck on Earth.
That's the one.
You are a bad girl, but that's what I like about you.
I'll do the best I can to keep this up.
Oh gosh. Well, we need to get to our guest because we have so much to talk about. You know, this is one of my favorite topics, and Thomas John is one of the most popular psychic mediums in the U.S. today. And he has been at sold-out events. He's been at A Night with the Spirit and Dinner with the Dead. He's been featured in major media, in People, Us Magazine, New York Magazine, the New York Daily News, Vanity Fair, GQ. He has appeared on Dr. Phil, Entertainment Tonight, Dish Nation, even the Real Housewives of New York. My God. And he's on our show tonight. I'm honored.
Well, I think that is absolutely such a fabulous array of places that he's been, and that he still is out there making sure everybody else gets a chance to see, hear, and know about him.
And he's a lovely guy. I can tell by just reading this book. This is a man who's really committed to service. And anyways, enough talking about him. Let's bring him on the show.
With him.
Thomas, welcome to Supernatural Girls.
Hi, thanks for having me.
It's an honor. Thank you for making the time to come on the show tonight.
My pleasure.
What a beautiful book you've written.
Thank you very much. I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Oh, my gosh, and I want everybody to enjoy it. Again, the title of the book is Never Argue with a Dead Person. That's a great title.
Oh, thank you.
It's fabulous. And again, you have a very interesting personal story, but what I loved about the book is you wrote about things in such a heartfelt way. And
Thank you.
Very well done. Everybody, guys, you need to run out. Everybody, get this book. You will not be sorry. I hung on every word, and it's going to transform your life reading this book. It's not just reading stories. This is real transformation reading this book. So, Thomas, tell us about you. Our audience wants to know, because they haven't read your book yet, what started you on this path? I mean, obviously from the book I know that this talent, this gift you had started in childhood, early childhood for you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have any recollection of not seeing the spirit world. So I've always seen spirit. When I was young, I would see, different energies, and I would feel different people around me and spirits that had crossed over and other things. And, so that was great, a big opportunity for me. And, of course, so being young, you don't really have any recollection, or any sort, not recollection, but you don't have a knowledge that that's, unusual or different. And so, it really wasn't until probably school age that I realized that, this is something that not everybody has innately programmed in them as much as I do. I mean, I feel everybody has a gift, and everybody actually does have an ability to see and understand the spirit world. But it became clear to me once I started to go to school, as a little boy, that, that people, I was talking about things, people didn't know what I was talking about. I was talking about things, people were getting kind of frightened by me, or think it was weird, or think it was unusual. So that was kind of the beginning of it all.
And then you also mentioned in the book that your parents did take you to priests and psychologists that kind of made the rounds with you.
Right. Yeah, they, like, I think any parent, I'm not a parent, so I don't know really how it is to have children, but I imagine, like every parent, you probably want your children to just kind of be normal. And it's just like, if your kid goes to school and is acting out in a certain way, if your kid is behaving a certain way, if your kid has certain friends. I mean, even in this day and age, still, if your kid, maybe you think your kid has some sort of, like a same-sex attraction or something, there's still that drive that you think, or there's that impulse that you're like, okay, the world's a cruel place sometimes. What if my kid is made fun of? What if this isn't right? What if this isn't, what if this is bad? And so that was kind of my parents' reactions. It's not that they didn't really believe in it. It's not that they didn't love me still, but they were just like, oh my God, they saw what I was going through. Because I would get made fun of at school. Teachers, were not very, helpful at all. And you also have to understand too, I mean, not that I'm like, old or anything, but I'm only 30 years old, but when I was growing up, it was like, that's still like 20, 25 years ago. And so when I was going to school and talking about this, I mean, there wasn't, all these TV shows and, 3, 4, 5 shows on a week about paranormal and ghosts and, this haunting and, Long Island Medium. I mean, there was nothing like that on TV. So it wasn't at all normalized, and nobody, it wasn't at all accepted. And I lived in a really small town in Massachusetts, and it just wasn't really a good situation. And so they really started to, try to bring me to places where, they could get some sort of feedback about what was going on for me.
And it sounded like you actually got quite a bit of support, and even from a priest who said the angels were talking to you.
Yeah, I think I was definitely must have been protected or just thankful it turned out that way. I mean, I don't know why, but I just saw, I never got like, oh my God, let's electrocute him. Or I never got, some sort of horrible thing. Thank God, because I could have.
We're glad of that.
Yeah. So, I'm blessed, and I think that, must have been part of my purpose and stuff. But, that's a common question I get in my practice all the time is, people will come to me with children or nieces or nephews or kids in their classrooms, and they'll say things like, how do we deal with this? How do we, do we encourage it? Do we try to ignore it? Do we make it Do we focus on it? Will that make them feel more? And so it's, in kids with disability, I was very, very sensitive as a kid and stuff. So yeah, it was a difficult, little bit of a challenge for my parents, but luckily, especially my mom, my mom and now my stepdad are very, are very cool with it, and they're especially my mom and my stepdad, but they are on the opposite side of the spectrum now. They talk about it all the time, so they've had a total shift.
How nice!
That's wonderful.
And you must be blessed, then, because you did have such support from your family. You had support also from the priests and other people that they took you to see at a young age. And again, this is your path. Obviously, it was meant to be. But it's also good for people to know, like you said, who have children who are sensitive. How do you help them? How do you deal with this? Because it can be a cruel world, and people can make, other kids make fun of kids. And so it's important to know how to support your child through and with a talent like this, because it is a talent that you had from a young age, from ever, as you said. You don't remember a time when you didn't have this. So how nice that they were able to kind of shepherd you through the rough seas.
Right, exactly.
Had it been another 25 years prior to that, it would have been a totally different story because people were just not aware.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm thankful for that, and I'm also thankful for the people, even people that I haven't necessarily met, but I'm thankful for the, people who've gone out there, like, people like, John Edward and James Van Praagh and Echo Bodine and Sylvia Brown, and people who really put themselves out there, and maybe they weren't always received positively, and went through a lot to kind of at a time where I was just kind of growing up. So I think now I'm lucky I have it easy. Now certain things have been paved. And sure, there's still so much skepticism, and I think there's so much resistance to this type of stuff still. I encounter it all the time, and and I live in between New York and LA, which are like the most liberal, open-minded places, and there's still people that are just don't they either don't believe or it's something to be aware of. So
they're professional cynics, I think, some of them, and it does make it very difficult, especially for people like you who are really out in the public eye, and it seems like some
right.
of them...
No, I think that I think that it's still like, I live in LA and then I live in New York, and it's still every day I encounter skeptics or people who don't believe or people who think it's wrong or stuff like that.
It's strange because I know what you're talking about. I was actually having conversations with some producers in LA about a show that we had been working on, and I was stymied. I couldn't believe how skeptical and actually cynical they were about this type of experience.
I think there's a tremendous amount of resistance. And I think most of it's fear, I think really a lot of it's fear. That's almost always what it is. And it's fear in different forms. It's fear through education. It's fear through being cultured in a certain way. It's fear through religion. And, some people are really, really frightened by it. And they really think that it's something that, is bad, and it's something that shouldn't be. And there's even, I think there's a level of fear, too, where I found a lot of people do believe in it, but they believe that it shouldn't be, it still shouldn't be developed. They believe in it, but they think it shouldn't be nurtured. It shouldn't be. So, I think there's a lot of, but, hopefully I feel like, with people who are doing good work and putting it out there and putting messages out there, you guys doing your show and, people going on TV appearances and getting it out there. That's why people, ask me, people will say to me, I've gotten this before, people will say, well, you go and try to get all this media attention for your work and stuff and try to, do interviews and go on TV, since it's a spiritual gift, do you really think it should be sort of celebritized that way? And I say to people, Absolutely it should be, because it's like, we have athletes, we have musicians, we have people from all sorts of walks of life that are famous and bring positive attention to their abilities and their gift, whatever it may be. And that's something that definitely people in the spiritual world should do too. It only helps to get that knowledge out there,
I agree.
I thoroughly agree with you on that.
Yeah,
absolutely. The more we see, the more it becomes mainstream as opposed to something that's scary to them.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
And I think, too, this is a big issue of control. People feel they're out of control when it comes to the spirit world because they don't have the gifts and the talents that you have. They can't see it, they can't hear it, and so they feel they might be at the effect of it and they don't like it. So I think a lot of it psychologically is that fear. It's just a control thing. But anyways, enough of that, because we want to talk about the fun stuff now.
Okay.
And that is more of the meat of your stories. Now, I don't want to give away everything, but you got some great stories here, Thomas. Gee.
Thank you.
Oh, my goodness. And twists and turns. This is why I want everybody to go out and get this book, because these things kind of turn around in different ways. You have people that come in for, a woman that came in for a particular kind of reading about finding love in her life. Now, that's a common issue for people. But what she got was not at all what she expected, but it was exactly what she needed. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, that was a client of mine who came, as you said, for more of a psychic reading. And I will get a lot of people like that who are like, you know what, I don't want to hear about the dead people. I'm not interested. That's kind of why I call, that's one of the reasons why the book is called Never Argue with a Dead Person, because I do feel that the spirit world over there, they orchestrate things and they plan things and they have a really a bird's eye view, helicopter view, great insight into what we need to hear and what we need to be told. Now, that being said, people in the spirit world, they do keep some of their personalities. They can be very much how they were in the physical sometimes. That does happen. So somebody who was kind of a know-it-all in the earth can retain some of that in the physical. But usually, on the other side. Now, usually, though, it comes with a level of development and stuff, and so it's usually not as prone to the sort of ego side of things. But, they can still kind of, somebody was pushy in this, pushy in the other life. So that sort of stuff. And so in this story, it was, a woman who and what happened was her love life, she totally had that potential, but she was totally blocked because she had not mourned the loss of her fiancé. And so he started coming through, which she initially was really resistant to because she kind of just didn't want to hear it. She was over it. She was like, he died. I don't want to talk about it. But then she kind of opened up, and he actually gave some insight into some things that were going on in her life that were pretty serious, that she needed to address. So it was a great reading from that perspective because it really, it validated to me and to her, and just kind of one of the many examples that that they're looking out for us and that they really have the best of intentions for us.
And that's a nice feeling, I think, for most people. It's like having guardian angels of their relatives or friends who have passed over. And but you also had a very, I would say, unusual reading that occurred when a woman's son had passed, but who showed up was the man who murdered her son. That was shocking in the book. Can you talk a little bit about that one? Because that was wild.
Well, with that one, she had heard from her son, and she really knew he was okay, and she kind of trusted in that. And they were actually friends. They had been friends, and so the whole thing was a horrible situation because not only had her son died, but somebody that then the kid, I believe, I'm trying to think. Yeah, he had taken his own life. And so it was a hard, it was it was just an awful situation. The whole thing was horrible. Like, just the energy of it, she found her son, and it was just really, really bad. And what turns out is that she actually wanted that connection. She wanted to talk to him and really say to him, what are you doing over there? What's going on? And it actually came through that when they both got to the other side, they had a long conversation and worked everything out. We're still friends, and we're doing a lot of good work over there. And the woman was really cool with that. And, a lot of healing can be done through that. It's sort of a similar situation. I mean, I was reading about a story a couple of months ago about a woman whose son was murdered, and then, somebody went to jail for it, and then she became friends with the murderer in jail and took him actually into her life and became very close to him. And, sometimes that sort of healing can be really, really powerful, because it's like, you're not going to get your son back in the physical form, but, for you to be close to that experience still and understand it and really come to terms with it, I think it's actually, even though people might say, oh my God, that's so bizarre, I would never do that, but to release all that toxic anger and to really come to the place of letting go of your ego 100% and just, accepting that person as still a child of God, I think that's like really, really powerful. And so it was a cool story just from that perspective.
Yes, yeah, it really held my attention. I mean, it was just so, again, a lot of your stories just had a lot of twists and turns in them, and that was another one that I couldn't put this book down. It was so fascinating. Now, we'd like to, not all of us, but some of us like me. I don't know about you, Patricia. I won't speak for you in this. But
well, we really well know if you think it, I think it too.
Okay, well, here it is. Here it is, Thomas. When somebody does something like that, they treat another person horribly, or they take a life. It's a crime that's again, a horrible crime. I'm not talking about defending yourself. I'm talking about going after somebody for no reason and harming them in some way. We would like to think there's some punishment on the other side for that. Is there? What do you think?
Depends what you mean by punishment. That's a kind of, depends what you mean by punishment. I've never been told about, a fire and brimstone. I've never been told about, people getting beaten on the other side or something. But let's say, my grandmother died, and she was, a churchgoer, nice woman, raised 6 children, couldn't have been a nicer person, did Meals on Wheels, volunteered, helped special needs children. So she crossed over. And then let's say you got Osama bin Laden crossed over. Okay, so you got 2 people there. Now, I definitely don't feel, and I've never been told, and I don't think it's right that they are both together, because that doesn't make any sense, obviously. It kind of would be kind of against a lot of the metaphysical principles we know to be true. But I think that they both have the opportunity to cross over, and they have an opportunity to sort of learn, and and to recharge and regrow and fix the parts of their soul that got interfered with or off course. Now, one of the things I've been told is when people come from the spirit world into the physical world, they have a soul contract, and they are supposed to learn and experience certain things. Now, nobody has a soul contract to come here and be an axe murderer. Nobody has a soul contract here to come here and be a Bernie Madoff. But what happens is people come here with their soul contract, and they're supposed to learn A, B, C, D, E. And because of the spiritual vibration, emotional vibration that they put themselves on, there's different tests over time. And, if they continue to kind of not do well on certain tests and kind of not get themselves back on course, that's when sort of the darker, evil, energetic force starts to come. It sort of changes them, because a lot of the lessons that we learn through negative experiences, we can also learn through positive experiences. So I think that when those people cross over, they do go to a different realm. in Catholicism we have purgatory. I've been told that everybody who crosses over has a life review. And for some people, maybe somebody's grandma who was a nice woman and, it has a short life review because it's kind of, okay, cool, you were on course and you did this and no, you kind of, made a mistake there with one of your children, but, overall you're okay. But somebody who goes that far off course, they really get stuck in that life review experience. And they have to really, to learn and sort of move past that and recycle their energy, they have to experience everything that they did in the physical. So I've been told that a lot. So, for example, the horror and pain of losing your life savings, like Bernie Madoff, who stole all that money from, hundreds of people who were waiting to retire. And he basically, so when he transitions, he's going to have to emotionally, his soul will have to emotionally experience every single one of those people that, and go through and experience that at a soul level, at an emotional level. And so, I think that's I guess that is a form of punishment because, who would really want to experience that? So it's not without a karmic debt. But I don't think it's like people go over there and get tortured or anything like that.
Although there are some people we think should be, it may not happen that way because, again, it's all about transformation, refinement, learning. And I guess, like you said, the people who learn faster and made positive decisions in the face of adversity, they have a shorter life review. So they spend less time there, and then they move on to the next thing. Now, what, in your experience, for souls on the other side is the next thing? So let's say it's your grandmother, and she has a short life review because she led a very spiritual, heartfelt life, and then what would be the next step for her, for example?
Well, usually they stay over there for a period of time because they really get access to a lot of information over there, knowledge. Their soul can really evolve. And so usually they don't immediately come back. The notion that somebody crosses over and then a week later they reincarnate is very uncommon. They basically, they stay over there for a period. There's other dimensions that they can get access to, and they can then choose to reincarnate because there are things in the physical world that their soul really does need to experience and learn and take in that is harder actually to experience on the other side. So, for example, a lot of things related to the physical sensations like hearing and touch and tasting, those physical sensations are not a big part of the other side. Though they can really emotionally experience a lot of things, but it's not the same as it is here where you taste and you smell. And so because of that, maybe somebody wants to kind of come back and re-experience some of those experiences. Maybe they miss it. Maybe I've had spirits come back and say that they reincarnated just because they actually miss food and they really had done a lot of soul work on the other side and they felt, I'm going to come back and I'd like to re-experience, maybe they want to be in love again. And all of those experiences kind of enhance their soul and they take on other lessons. You can't just come back to the earth to eat food, but you can come and say, I'd like to learn, I'd like to re-experience food again, and I'd also like to do A, B, C, and you can kind of build yourself out a soul contract, and then you can, then you're sort of filtered back in. So that's, but there's other dimensions over there. There's other realms. There's many levels of the spirit world, and then once you go up so many levels, you're almost in kind of another dimension, is kind of how it's been explained to me.
What brings about the different levels? How do you know which level you start in or where you progress from the levels?
Well, when you go over there, your level is really determined by how you lived here. So the low vibration levels are, they're not really as joyful. They're more darker. They don't have all the knowledge over there. You can't master some of the secrets of the world. You're not as close to God. So those are lower levels. And then when you get over there, but each time you sort of, when you come into the physical earth, it's really perceived as a test. So you sort of can test into a new level. Now, there's other ways to do that too, but that is just one way. For example, you could also stay on the spiritual plane and work on certain things and guide people that are on the physical plane and sort of earn enough energetic momentum to sort of go up a level. It's hard to go up one or two levels. It's not like you can just do a couple things and you go up a level, because they really are different levels. So, it takes some work. And, sometimes in a lifetime, people have told me that because, they might have lived 80 years on life, and they only went up one or two levels, or one level. But that's fine, because one level up is really, it is a really increased experience. Mm-hmm.
That is so interesting.
Fabulous.
I love your explanation of this.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I do, and I love hearing about it. And that term you used was very insightful, energetic momentum. That's great. Now, when people pass, also, a lot of people that are left behind say, I hope that they'll be my guardian angel and look over and look after me. Did they do that?
Well, I don't like the term guardian angel only because a guardian angel is truly in the angelic realm. So it's really the closest realm to God and to Source. And most of the actual guardian angels have never really been in physical form before. But they do watch over us. So I think a lot of people say that and they really mean, but the idea like somebody dies and they get a pair of wings. I don't think that's true. But they do go over to the other side, and they can watch over us, and they certainly do and offer guidance. Now, then sometimes people get into this thinking pattern of, well, if my grandmother really loved me, why am I getting divorced? Well, that's because, you have things you still have to learn here. So, you still have to learn about your soul contract here. So they can't preclude you from problems. It's not like that. It's not like, you're close to your grandmother, she dies, and it's like you're going to win the lottery. It doesn't, people think it works that way. Your soul is still independent. And so they can help you, they can guide you, you can meditate and connect with them and ask them for guidance. You can ask them how to get more on your spiritual path. You can ask that they, intervene in something if it's God's will for a different outcome. You can ask them to sort of return things to normal, or God's natural order if something's kind of going awry. But they can't interfere with other people's free will and stuff like that. But yeah, they do definitely watch over us, and they still communicate with us, celebrate with us. They know what goes on in the physical world still. So there's all sorts of things. Yeah.
Yeah, again, it's interesting, and I'm sure it brings people comfort to know that there's still watching on some level.
I think so. Yeah, I think also, when people lose somebody in such a traumatic way. I've worked with a lot of families from 9/11. I worked with some families from Columbine. I worked with some families from the school in Connecticut where there was the shootings. And, people with all sorts of, but, somebody comes home and they find that their husband committed suicide and, there's no real reason why because they had a happy marriage. That leads someone to need questions answered.
Yes.
It's just a matter of a fact. Somebody needs to say, what the heck happened, So,
oh, gosh. Yes.
Yeah. And so when I reach out, sometimes it's answers. Sometimes people literally need to be, why did you die? What happened? What were your last moments like? Who killed you? Whatever it might be. And then sometimes it's more just about a comfort. Maybe, if somebody's mother had a beautifully long life and, lots of great life, then that's good too. And then, then it's more about checking in, and it's kind of just, nice to know, if somebody comes through and is able to validate their presence. It's sometimes just really, really nice to know that.
It is. And then when you have worked with families that were involved in some major tragedies that hit all of us on some level, like the Newtown shootings, things like that, was there anything that you found when you spoke with people that had passed from that experience that you found particularly of interest or of import?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things with that, with those sort of, those, one of those things is that often, often those people that pass from those types of situations are part of a soul group that came here to teach a certain lesson and to really shift the consciousness of humanity. And one of the things that is probably why everything is so puzzling in the world is if you sort of think about things, we come to the earth, whatever, who knows, whatever. But we have the Big Bang, and we start this period basically after the Big Bang, which is, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago. But we have this Big Bang, and then we start evolving. Our consciousness started evolving. And one of the interesting things that is sort of probably the age-old question is that we don't really know, what are we evolving into? What are we supposed to, where does that, it's almost like we're a firecracker. Well, or a firework going up into the sky. So what are we, what's our end point? What is the end point? When will consciousness be fully evolved? And we don't know the answer to that question. That's a great question, and some people have insight and spend their life thinking about that and stuff. And so a lot of times when those big situations happen, they are big strides in our consciousness. And as much as we say, that's still a horrific thing, sometimes that level of sadness and deep, 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 deep sadness and deep, 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 deep even terror can bring about profound changes in humanity. I mean, I remember so many people saying after 9/11 how New York became a different place. People became nicer. People became more empathic. People became more conscious of certain things. People became more aware of needing to be prideful of their country and stuff. So yes, it's very sad that a lot of people had to die, but it's also, there was a lot of good that was derived out of that. I mean, I have a client, for example, who lost her child to meningitis. She's gone on to get people vaccinated and all these other things, pass legislature in different countries, speak, write, start a nonprofit. So are we to say that, that girl, that we're happy that she died? No, of course not. But I certainly don't think her life, that she lost her life in vain, because she probably saved 5,000 people by doing that. So we have to kind of look at things that way. I think it's much more positive and much more healing and much more in line with really what the truth is. And death is not a bad thing, I mean, sure, the experience of physical pain is not good, but that's such a brief moment in time. I mean, even if somebody gets, shot, I mean, it's such a brief moment in their soul's life that if you put that 1% into infinity of an eternal soul, it doesn't really matter that much. So, but the death is really it's just a transition. So it's not, we get attached because we have an ego, and we get very focused on, well, that person's not here anymore. I can't talk to that person. That person, where is that person now? But really, it's like they're there. They're just sort of in another room,
Well, yeah, and I think your work is so wonderfully healing because it does help to give people a bigger perspective. So it's not about this one little thing they went through that they feel a loss for, or they feel something happened to them they can't recover from. All of this is an opportunity, and your work is something that gives them a chance to look at it that way.
Oh, thank you.
Most definitely.
Yeah, you're welcome. It's great work that you're doing. And
Thank
you.
you.
The problem with you, Thomas, is you're just too interesting, and I've let you talk all this time without taking a commercial break. So
Okay.
I am going to take a short commercial break, give you a chance to catch your breath and get something to sip on here, and we will be right back, everybody. And as I mentioned, Thomas will not be doing on-air readings tonight, but you can reach him to get your own reading privately with him at mediumthomas.com on the Internet. And also the number to call in if you have a general question is 646-478-0828. Again, that number is 646-478-0828. 828. Everybody stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Are you searching but not sure what for? Does happy Are you searching?
Bonjour, this is Veronique Raskin, founder of the Organic Wine Company. As one of the
Your property tax bill. Have you seen it? Are you searching but not sure what for? Does happiness seem Are you searching but not sure what for? Does happiness seem like it's always around the corner, or perhaps fleeting? Life can seem like you're winning on the outside, but on the inside, you might be running on empty. Well, it's high time to rendezvous with your soul. Imagine being able to let go of emotional baggage effortlessly and have less mind chatter, freeing you up to be present to your beautiful, magnificent self. Wouldn't that be nice? More silence and the ability to hear your own true voice within. To be where life is, and joy and love is your natural state. This is all possible with Cosmic Fusion's 5D++ Awakening and Transformation Workshop, which will bring the quantum vortex, scalar wave, photon pulse in your life. The all-knowing, all-powerful, and ever-present mother of all frequencies and vibrations. This energy signature, direct from Source, is then available 24/7 to upgrade your potential to infinity and support you through exciting and profound shifts. This is something that cannot be explained. It simply must be experienced. But don't take our word for it. Visit our website for some life-transforming video and written testimonials shared right from the heart. So don't wait and visit CosmicFusion.com. That's KOSMICFUSION.com. www.CosmicFusion.com to find out more. Your soul is awaiting your transformation.
Bonjour, this is Veronique Raskin, founder of the Organic Wine Company. As one of the pioneers of the organic wine movement, since 1980 I have brought you the very best and most authentic organic wines directly to your table. I work with small family estates who grow certified organic grapes and produce exceptional wines. You can purchase our wines individually from our website at theorganicwinecompany.com or join one of our wine clubs. Our organic wines are perfect for you and for your family as gifts for friends and relatives, and they are simply spectacular for the holidays. Visit us at theorganicwinecompany.com to enjoy the very best organic wines conveniently delivered to your door. I am Veronique Raskin, passionate about my mission. I offer to you vegan, organic, and biodynamic wines, wines made by people of the heart, wines with a heart. Au revoir. Call us at 1-888-ECO-WINE.
Your property tax bill. Have you seen it lately? It's frightening. Your property taxes are going up while your home value is going down. It's time to fight back and win. For the real truth about the property tax system, get attorney Pat Quintilian's book, Are You Getting Screwed on Your Property Taxes? How to Find Out and How to Fix It. Attorney Quintilian answers all your questions and gives you the facts you need to fight a property tax bill that is spiraling out of control. You'll also read about what happens to property owners who don't check their property records,
only to find out too late they're taxed on square footage, fixtures, and even buildings that they don't own. Is this happening to you? Learn your rights. Buy attorney Pat Quintilian's book today. Are you getting screwed on your property taxes? How to find out and how to fix it. Available on Amazon.com.
Welcome back, everyone. We are having a wonderful time tonight with Manhattan medium Thomas John. And I have to say, I have to apologize for what happened. The audio board went crazy during the commercial break. My apologies for that. This happens sometimes, as you guys know that have listened to this show for a while. Sometimes the energy gets so intense.
Yes, it does.
The electronics can't keep up with us. So anyways. And I also know Helene's probably waiting in the wings. So, Thomas, is that all right if you try to tune in and see if Helene would like to speak with us tonight?
Sure. Yeah,
Know,
that would be wonderful.
Yes, she was one of the co-founders of the radio show and our dear sister in light, Helene Olson. So, yes, if you can find her out there, that would be great. Everybody's waiting to hear from her.
Sure, well, we can do that. So you guys were close friends with her?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. There's actually two spirits coming through, and your friend is so cute. She's actually letting the other one go first. So when I open up to the spirit world, they sort of, but there is a Mary. I don't know if it's Marianne or Marion or Mary. I think it's Marion, but there's somebody coming through right now. It's somebody's mother.
That's my mother.
My mother's name was Mary. How about yours, Patricia?
Her name was Marion.
Huh?
Well, I mean,
I think it's yours.
I don't know which one this is, but I feel, because it really could be either one of them, but I feel this is somebody. Okay, hold on. And is there a connection at all? I think I might be with Patricia for some reason. I just have an inkling. I'm not 100% sure. Is there any connection to your mom who passed, the Marion? Is there a connection to her to March?
Yes, that's her birth month.
Okay. She's definitely stepping forward, I feel. And she's got her cards out. She's playing cards over here.
That's good, because that's what she loved to do best.
She's playing her cards, and she said that I don't know if when she crossed over, you sort of like sent the angels with her, or if you told her,
I did.
You know, I'm sending you all the angels, Mom, to help you go over. But she said that she that meant a lot to her, because she said, I feel like, I don't know, I almost felt like she was like a believer in angels or something, or she thought that they were real and stuff. Now your friend who's coming here, so she's just stepping forward. She wants to acknowledge you, and she said that there's a lot of exciting things coming up for you this year, and there might even be an opportunity for, I feel that there might be an opportunity for some sort of thing with a book. But I don't know exactly what this is, but I keep hearing that. Now, your friend is coming through. I think this must be her. Is she recent? Not your mom, but is your friend recent?
Helene, yes.
Okay, because I'm getting, this is somebody who feels like a recent passing. How recent? Last 2 months?
Yes, in March.
Okay, cool. Because when I'm, you know, she did want to say thank you. There must have been a show that you actually dedicated to her, because she's saying that, she's saying about that, and she's also saying that she's actually doing a lot of the things that she did on the other side. She's saying that she, you know, I mean, on this side, she's saying she does a lot of things that she was doing on this side, she does on the other side. And so she's still continuing a lot of her work. Now, I don't know a lot about this personally. It's not really an interest of mine. But was your friend, was she a big believer in, like, Bigfoot, or did she think that maybe there was a Bigfoot or something like that?
I would say yes.
I'd
It's
have
something
to say yes.
Yeah, we
Okay.
discussed it quite a bit. In fact, we had Bigfoot experts on the show together.
Okay. So one of the things she's saying is, actually, I don't know why she's bringing this through. She said that, she's funny. She said, Thomas, you need to breathe, relax, breathe. she's, yeah, I mean, what I was hearing with her, I'm just, when I'm asking her and stuff, how does the cancer connect?
That's why she died. She had pancreatic cancer.
Okay, I see. I definitely am getting red ribbons. That always usually means cancer. Now, I don't know exactly. I don't know. She's talking about somebody. I think she's talking about somebody like driving to her, or driving out to see her. She kept bringing that up, or somebody, it could even be somebody who's even listening, but she said there was somebody who it kind of actually surprised her, but she said it was somebody who like drove out to see her. And okay, wait, I'm getting more things here. Hold on. Oh, yeah. She said also that, she, one of the things is, she's just talking about her transition and stuff. Was she the one that, like, did she come up with the idea for the show or the radio show, or was she like into it first and she kind of brought you guys or something?
Yes.
Or did she? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
because the way she's explaining it is like that she kind of brought you guys, into it, or she. I'm getting a strong. I don't know exactly who this goes to, but she's bringing up also. I keep getting also an A name. I don't know who that is, but I want to say she keeps showing me a big A. And she's circling it. It could be somebody who's actually. What'd you say?
That could be her mother. Her mother's name
Okay.
begins with an A. And her mom is still with us here.
Okay. And the other thing she said is just that she's definitely. I think I feel she's pretty high up in the spectrum over here. I mean, I can hear that when I'm going with her, I feel like she's very high up. She said also that she's I think this is more for you. I think this is more from the woman who's been asking me more of the questions. But she was saying something about, she's actually talking about 2 shows that she worked on with you. So I don't know if you guys did like this one, and then there was like another one.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Because she said there was, there was 2 shows. She was bringing up something about, I don't know. She said that when she crossed over, that she wasn't, she wasn't scared at all, because she said that she kind of knew where she was going, and she wasn't scared at all. I also saw, she was telling me that there was some sort of like healing. She said there was some sort of like healing that you guys did for her, or some sort of like you did a healing for her. She said she wasn't, it was like she wasn't strong enough. But it was like you guys did it. I felt like maybe in her absence. And now she's also giving me, I don't know what this is. Trying to see. Is there like an A? I keep seeing an A. Well, I guess you already said that, but I saw A.
You might
There's
want
not
to ask if
an Andrew, is there, or an Arthur?
There is an Arthur too. That's her husband.
Okay. And he's alive?
Yes, he is.
Okay. She was really strongly bringing up to me the middle of November, beginning of December. I don't know if that's when things got real bad for her, or her energy kind of started to shut down, but she was saying right around then is where she kind of really started to lose it.
That's right.
And, it was almost like hard for her to really do her normal stuff. And the art person, he's in the physical?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I know he's hearing this, or he's either hearing it or he's going to hear it, because she said that he'll definitely hear this. So she said that she wants to talk something about she wants to talk about something with the. She's bringing up something about the boat, but I think that that could definitely be something that is I think that could also be it might not be something that is that you guys would understand. I think also it seems more like a memory. A memory for and hold on. Yeah, I mean, when I'm talking to her, she's just telling me she's with her grandparents. That's who she's with. She's with. There's a set of grandparents that came for her, and I was also I did hear the name Joy, but I don't know who that is.
Yes, Joy was a close friend. Yes.
And she said that actually she's telling me this to it could be for both of you. I don't know what, but she said that there's some TV thing that she's telling me is going to be happening. And she said and she said that like I don't know, that's what she's saying, and she said that like almost like the way I feel like did she do like intuitive work? Was she a psychic or medium?
She was a medium. She was a medium.
I think that she she has access to some stuff over there, and one of the things she's telling me is there's something I feel like she's saying you might need to be you may need to be kind of patient, or you might need to kind of wait. But it feels like it's going to happen. And I saw also, I don't know who, with your mom that was coming through first, because I think this goes back with her. Is this her, or it could be your friend, but was either of them like into coin collecting?
My mother was. She collected coins for years.
She collected coins, okay. Mm-hmm. And because she's talking about something, I think she's talking about, I don't know what she's saying, but she said, what, do you have the collections?
I have a few coins of hers, but the basic coin collection was sold some years ago.
Oh, okay. But you have a few of the coins. Okay, that makes sense. I think she's probably talking about that. And she said that that woman was just saying also that she she's with your father, and she was she said she was happy about that. And I think that your friend said though that she said that she's exactly where she needs to be, and she said that she's really happy where she is, and she said that she, even though she totally believed in this stuff, She's saying that she was a little bit, she was scared a little bit, crossover. And your friend is funny. She said, somebody's Uncle Carl keeps trying to come through. And your friend said, oh, my God, no, there's too many people here. She said, I'm the one that's going to, I'm talking now.
Oh, good for you, Elaine. You stay in there.
She's
wait.
kind of, she's kind of I think she's orchestrating it. Yeah, the only thing she was saying is just at the beginning when she went over, she was a little bit scared. She was a little bit scared about, she was a little bit upset, she said, that they that they didn't catch it in time. But I think, I really feel like she's made peace with that.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And Helene, we miss you, but we're glad you're okay.
Sure.
And we're glad that you're doing what you love to do. So
that's so wonderful.
Yeah, not a surprise, Thomas, that she's doing the same work over there. And thank you so much. You were so right on the money. And my goodness, you got Patricia Kirkman's mother, too.
I'm stunned. I mean, I've waited to hear from her since she left. Well, actually, it'll be 9 years this coming month since she passed. And we had been so close, I always knew there'd be a connection afterwards. And considering what I do in that, I kept thinking, well, this doesn't make sense. Other people. So,
sometimes I
very,
feel like
very
your mom, I think your mom, she was waiting for the right type of, she really, when she came through, she wanted to do it real strong. She didn't want it to be like a kind of like a, something kind of like not real clear. So she wanted to come through clear, make her point. And I think your friend kind of helped her because she was kind of staying back at the beginning and said that she didn't, she didn't want to interrupt. And then your friend was like, no, you can come. Like, we'll get you through too. So.
Oh, that's fabulous. I couldn't have asked for anything more warm or fulfilling than this taking place. Thank you so very, very much.
No, you're welcome. God bless.
Yeah, this is wonderful. And I know our entire audience is happy to hear from Helene. I'm getting a lot of messages now, people writing in to the chat room saying, we love Helene so much. Thank you for speaking with her for us. So, again, she had a great following, and people really loved her.
Yeah, and I can tell she was one of those people that I think was not in it for fame or for money or she was really someone who just wanted to help people.
She really did, and she loved people. She felt that everybody she met was like a family member to her. So it was a great connection, and she is so very much missed, and I'm sure she knows that over there too. But great to hear from her, and you were so right on. And I can imagine
definitely.
It's a little difficult. It's like even at the beginning when you were talking about, okay, whose mother is this? It's like Marion is Patricia's mother's name. My mother's name is Mary. And the woman you were talking to had a birthday in March. Well, so did mine. Yeah. But the turning point was when you saw Marion playing cards, and that was the key that it was Patricia Kirkman's mother. So you really do have to go a little bit further, especially when you're doing a group reading, right, to make sure you've got people connected the right way.
Well, I always tell people I think in my past life I was a prosecutor or an attorney because I'm always like I have to go through the facts and then people try to change things and say, well, my mom's birthday was in October, and I'm like, no, I said March. So, but it's a lot of fun, and there's always that. I mean, I can be in a room of 800 people, and obviously, if I blurt out, somebody have a paw, some hands are going to go up. I mean, that's just, and then once stuff starts coming through, then slowly the hands start going down. And luckily, I've never had all the hands go down. There's always one hand standing.
One lone hand, huh?
Which is great. Now, do you also speak with beings from the angelic realm? Do they come through to you directly?
I work with, when I work intuitively with people, um, people who are passed away, as much as we love and connect with them and stuff, they sometimes do have insight about things. They sometimes may know, this is going to happen. They're particularly insightful for things that they knew about. So, for example, if there's something that they, were good at or something that they were involved with, but, if somebody wants to know if they're going to, get a new job, it's not necessarily the best route to go and talk to your dead grandmother because, she's not going to she could, it really depends. Then I tap into the spirit guides, the ascended masters. I have 3 or 4 guides that I work with who start channeling information to me, telling me things. And, it's just that I do work with those too. Obviously, the closer to source, the more evolved and sometimes insightful the information is. But, in terms of the healing, sometimes, they're, like just, with your co-host, it could be just a healing moment for her to just have heard from her mom, and that could be kind of, have a ripple effect in 20 other things, even unconsciously. So it just depends, what people want to know about and what they need at the time and, what they're asking about and who wants to come forward and stuff like that.
And what about troublesome, or I should say troublesome or troubled spirits? I mean, have you ever had one that you've had to send away and say, I can't talk to you or can't deal with you?
I'm pretty good at psychically sort of protecting myself and zoning out the negative energies. I'm not going to say that hasn't happened, because it has. But in general, I'm pretty protective of my energetic space. Certainly have had things I've done with hauntings and stuff, or, paranormal investigations where somebody might kind of be disruptive. But I would say by and large, the spirits that are supposed to come through, they come.
Mm-hmm. Now, there's a lot of people that are going out there ghost hunting, and what do you have to say to them about this? It seems a lot of this could be asking for trouble. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, ghost hunting is not something I do a lot of work with, but what I can say is that, similar to being a psychic medium, I do intuitive development circles, and people who have a gift and want to develop it, or people who want to just develop their abilities and stuff. Now, just because you go to a psychic development class doesn't mean you should go start reading people, because there's a difference between doing something in a personal way in your own life and doing it in a professional way where you have somebody's life in your hands potentially, and it's a huge responsibility. And so with ghost stuff, that's something I, by and large, involve myself in. But I do think that anything like that, whether it be something like even playing with tarot cards, even Ouija boards. I mean, things should be done in a respectful way, and really organized in a certain way, and with good intentions and stuff. And I would say for any sort of haunting or paranormal stuff, you really want to have the right training and the right team with you and the right tools and stuff. And it's probably not a good idea to be interfering in that way, because those spirits are usually spirits, most ghosts sometimes aren't even harmful, but they're trapped. And so another thing that can happen is like my friend Echo Bodine, she actually can help ghosts cross over. But, if you're just going to go and kind of mess with them and bother them and stuff and not really help them and do any sort of therapeutic work, it doesn't really make a lot of sense to be doing that.
Yeah, I agree.
What about times when you'll feel the presence of someone around you? What is a good approach to work with that? Because it's not frightening. In some cases, you feel someone that's very close to you or someone you know. Other times you may not know who it is, but there's just that sensation that someone is there.
I usually, and even if you get like a sign, a lot of people will say they get a sign or something like that, and then I like to go a little bit further with it, and if you can, I sort of will ask them, is there something that you need? Is there something I can help you with? Part of what people sometimes don't understand is it is a two-way communication. So they can communicate down to you, and you can communicate up to them. So, maybe you sit there for a moment. A lot of times I tell people to go inside for a moment, work on their breath for a second, calm themselves, and, ask, what needs to be, what needs to be, why are you here? And sometimes it might be, hello, maybe they have a message, but that's how I tell people to handle that.
Mm-hmm. Thank you.
Yeah, so just like a friendly conversation, like you would, I guess, with anybody. So that makes sense.
Yeah, well, it is a two-way conversation. So, like I said, they can communicate down to you. You can communicate down to them. And they can communicate. Yeah.
Yeah. What about?
Go ahead.
Praying for people who have passed. Is that an important thing to do? Does that help?
Very important. It's extremely important, especially if people have crossed over in a traumatic way. I'll tell you a quick story about something. I was actually doing a group of 12 people, a reading group, and I'm actually writing about this a little bit in my next book. And I was doing readings, and everybody was sort of coming through, this grandparent and this one's mother and, this friend and stuff. And I started to describe a man who died in 9/11. And nobody was associated with it. Nobody said anything about the person. They were like, nobody knew who it was. Describing him, describing his family, describing what he looked like. Nobody had anything. We were kind of going through everybody. Nobody. So finally I said, well, they said that you have their mass card, or you found their mass card, or you found their business card. Yeah, they said you found their business card. And I kept saying this. Finally, this woman goes, oh, my God. She goes, when 9/11 happened, I went down to the area, a couple of days later, and I was just roaming around, just totally distraught. And I found somebody's business card. And so she said, I went home and I looked on the, list of people who had died in 9/11, and I found that this man had died. And I went and I put his business card out and I did prayer for him. And she said she still lights candles for him to this day. And so he said to her, please know that you helped me so much, because I was so scared when I died and I was going to be a ghost, but you helped me cross over without even knowing it. And now I can help my family and guide them more. And I wouldn't have been able to do that if I was trapped on Earth, so I just wanted to thank you. And so I think that, praying for people is a big thing, definitely.
Gosh, that's a wonderful story. I love that.
Oh, God, yes.
And it illustrates everything that you said, the power of prayer. It works, and even when people have passed, and how important it can be to help these people who have passed to go past their own fear, to let it go, so that they can embrace whatever they need to on the other side. That's a great, great example of that. Thank you for sharing that story. That's beautiful. I love it.
Thomas, is it normal to periodically to get an aroma of something, say like a cigar smell, although there's nobody in the room that smells cigars, that from someone that has passed?
That's common. Yeah, that's common. Or people will communicate with perfumes, or things like that.
Yeah, I get that a lot.
Yeah, they'll do that to really kind of acknowledge that they're there, and usually it goes with their personality. So normally someone who was a cigar smoker will, come through with cigars. So that's that's a common thing. Mm-hmm.
One of the things that you talk about in your book is an experience you had in the drugstore, and it brings up an interesting question about reading for people that haven't come to you to pay for a session, but sometimes spirit shows up. They want to talk to whomever you're around. You don't know them. I mean, it puts you in a very precarious position. Can you talk a little bit about that experience you had with that little boy in the drugstore?
Well, I never turn away spirits. If I see something or feel something for somebody, I really do try to bring that through for the person. Now, mostly the spirits come through when I am, when I'm working, because they know that I have certain rules, and I don't, by and large, really like to interfere with people's lives. So I don't go into stores and start reading people. But occasionally the spirit world is just so strong, and oftentimes when they know that maybe this person would not have a connection otherwise, they they will actually push in and get a message through. So yeah, that happens, and that happened in that store with the pharmacy. I was really just kind of shopping, doing my thing, and this boy came in, and he wanted to talk to his mom, and he was really, really, clear about it, and I just sort of, honored that, respected that, let that happen, and brought through the message. And it was like I had said, it was because she would not have sought this out on her own. It wasn't something that she was oriented to. She would not have gone and seen a medium. So the boy needed to step through, and she needed a lot of healing. So that does happen.
And that was a beautiful story because, again, I admire your courage. I mean, you approached her, and she was less than friendly, shall we say?
Right. Yeah, she wasn't too open-minded, but luckily, she then became open-minded, and the message really changed her life. And actually, I still talk to her to this day, and she said that she always is so thankful to her little boy that he kind of really put her on her path.
Wow. It's, again, everybody, you guys need to go out and get this book. It's great. Never Argue with a Dead Person by Thomas John. True and unbelievable stories from the other side. They're beautifully written, and again, there's so many twists and turns along the way for these stories. As they unfold, I was really carried along by the power of these stories. And again, when you're in the drugstore, here's the little boy. He's pushing you to talk to his mother, who's at the cash register, and she does not want to talk to you. So, it was an amazing story of how you broke through her defenses to be able to get the message across, and then how it transformed everything for that woman and the suffering that she had in her life as a result of the death of this little boy. So, yeah. I mean, again, that's not an easy thing to do, to approach somebody that's not interested at first and not willing, and even might be threatening to you. Now, do you have any other examples of that when you've been out, just like you said, doing your thing, and spirit is knocking on your head and saying, "You better talk to this person for me"?
Yeah, I mean, it happens it happens, I'll say, often, but not frequently. Usually I'm just so distracted I'm barely focusing on. I've usually got so much going on, clients, appointments, my life, this, my family, this. So I'm not really paying attention, and I might even even if I wanted to tune in, I kind of have to stop what I'm doing and focus on it. But I've had situations at coffee stores, and there's another one in the book that happens at like a cocktail party. So yeah, it definitely happens. It's kind of just part of the, terrain.
Yeah, it comes with the territory, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Now, are there times when you just have to shut everything down and just say no to everybody on the other side and take a break?
Well, I mean, I have rules about that, and the spirit world knows what my rules are, and they know that there's certain things I do to prepare for a reading, and unless I've done them, they shouldn't bother. And I do that so that I maintain my physical and mental, well-being.
That makes good sense.
Yeah,
we
because
can't
otherwise
run down. Too many people need you.
right. And they
Right.
would
Yeah. I mean, there's
up all night.
Yeah. I mean, it's just like everybody else. Everybody. I mean, whether you're an athlete, whether you're whatever you are, I mean, you need that recharge time, and so otherwise it would just be 24/7 just craziness. And so I work that into my schedule, and I allow that for myself, and I'm very, very liberal with making sure that I give myself that protection time. And I mean, I even have situations where I wake up in the morning and I'm not feeling 100%. Am I on the floor, passed out? No, but I have a little cough or a little cold, and I'll cancel my readings for the day. And, that leaves, 3 or 4 people that are mad because they didn't get the reading that day. But I'd rather that than go and read people and have it not be 100%, because I'm working with high vibration energies, and this is people's lives in hand. People really are there because they quite literally need a message. I mean, nobody's talking to a psychic medium, usually just for fun. I mean, though it is kind of entertaining and enjoyable too, but usually people who seek that out, they have questions, they have things, and so I really try to, honor that commitment to myself to take breaks and take vacation and relax and try not to do too much.
Good for you. That's a tough thing, and it's really
very
I agree.
Needed.
Yeah,
very
it's very important. I mean, Patricia has her own practice as a numerologist. I have my own practice, and it's really, when you're in this type of work, you tend to put yourself last, and it's good that you don't do that, so that you can give 100% every time you sit down to do a reading for someone. Good for you. That's tremendous, tremendous. So is there anything that really, really surprised you as you think back on all of the readings you've done, which have been, I'm sure, thousands at this point? Anything that just so took you by surprise you did not know what to say?
Well, I always think, I think to a degree every reading has been surprising to me. So, I'm always surprised with what comes through and how things come through and, how information comes through. It always, surprises me. And always, it kind of always draws me in. It's just, I would say probably, I always think it's amazing when young people come through and that they have a lot of insight. I mean, I've had, 3-year-olds come through and they have a lot of insight into their family dynamics. I always think that's very, very special.
Yeah, that is. How unusual. Well, I guess when you have a perspective on the other side, no matter what your age, it's still expanded.
Right.
Yeah, they have a lot. They definitely have a lot of insight over there. So,
well, do they choose their parents? We've been taught, we choose our parents for what they can teach us, and we're theirs for what we can teach them. Is there a choice when we decide that we're going to reincarnate or that we'll be rebirth?
Wait, say that again.
Do we choose the parents to whom we'll be born to?
I think, yes. We choose a lot of people that we're born to, because we have a lot. We choose a lot of people because we have soul contracts with them, and so there's certain people that we want to learn unconditional love.
Right.
We have to learn. We have to have somebody that we're going to love, and we have to have somebody that. We that's just kind of what we have to have that. So, we have soul contracts with everybody. I think our parents are often important ones, and they're not always even positive. I mean, sometimes we may have a real difficult relationship with a
with a parent, and that may be so that we learn and master certain lessons.
Well, because I've always been taught that we choose our parents for what they can teach us, and we're theirs for what we can teach them. Because it is.
And I think that's true. Yes, I think that's very much true. Yes, I do believe that.
Thank you for the validation of that, because that's what I've always believed and what I've always felt from what I've learned.
Yeah, no, I believe that's very true, and that goes for also, that goes also for our partners, and that goes for spouses, and it goes for goes down the line.
Never thought about our partners and who we choose for our spouses in this lifetime. But I get why wouldn't it be when everything else falls into place, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Makes sense.
Certainly given me more to think about, Thomas.
Yes.
Well, that's good.
Well,
I'm glad.
I'll tell you what, this has just been a wonderful evening and a wonderful treat to hear, first of all, from Marion, Patricia, from your mom, who I know you were so close to.
I am just elated. I can't wait. When I get off, I'm going to call my sister right away and say, Mom called me first.
That's great. And also from our dear friend, Helene. That was a real gift.
Wonderful.
A real gift, Thomas. And again, to our audience tonight, please, you've got to get this book. It's a beautiful book by a beautiful man. Never Argue with a Dead Person. It is by Thomas John. Thomas, thank you so much. And please, would you promise to come back on our show for your next book? We'd love
I would be honored. That would be wonderful.
That's wonderful.
This has been such a pleasure. You're just delightful, and we certainly wish you all the best and all the endeavors that you have in this lifetime. You're helping so many people, and it's so needed. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you.
I hope you had fun with us.
Joy.
I did.
Good.
Great. Well, that's great.
I guarantee he'll come back.
Yes.
Yes, I will.
Oh, well, thank you again. Many blessings. And
you too.
Everybody.
Many blessings.
Oh, thank you. And thanks, everybody, for joining us tonight on this very exciting show. And, again, if you'd like a private reading with Thomas John, you can reach him at his website, which is mediumthomas.com. He also, as he mentioned during the show, teaches classes. And, again, the name of his book, Never Argue with a Dead Person. Patricia, what a great time we've had. Thank you so much for changing your schedule to be here tonight.
I am thrilled, absolutely thrilled. Thank you so much.
Well, see, there was a reason. There was a reason, huh?
That is definitely true. Definitely true. God works in his wonderful ways.
Yes, and we're still getting lots of messages from people in the chat room. Thank you for letting us hear from Helene. Again, she's greatly missed. And our love goes out to everybody in the audience tonight. We've got another great show for you next week. Be sure to tune in. We've got somebody calling us from Central America, and he has answers to our questions about the great mysteries of the pyramids and what they're really about. Now, we've had other people on the show talking about this. I think this guy has the real answer. We're going to find out. We're going to grill him, okay?
I can't wait. and I won't even speak Spanish, but it's okay.
Yeah, that's okay. I think we'll get by with our English. We'll be okay.
Thank you.
Anyway, everybody have a great week, and we will be talking with you next week. We'll see you on the Blue Highway. Good night.
Good night.
Thanks for listening. Tune in next week for another radio adventure with